Hello and welcome to Moneycontrol. This is a very special conversation we are having with Anurag Gupta, Head of Global Merchant Services, American Express, India. Welcome to the show, Anurag. Glad to have you here. I hope you are staying safe and staying well. All in your family and your office are staying well and safe. This is a remarkably extraordinary time in the world. Nobody would have thought, say, about 4 months ago that we'd be having this discussion from our respective homes and talking about the impact of a certain virus that originated somewhere in a neighboring country and that has brought down the entire global economy down. It has affected global economy. It has affected economics. It has affected businesses, and it has affected livelihoods, and it has affected the way the businesses will be conducted. So people are talking about a new normal, and people are talking about a new normal both in our lives and in our businesses. There cannot be a better person than you, Anurag, to talk about some of these aspects, particularly for the small and medium businesses in India, which is essentially the lifeblood of the Indian economy, both for the manufacturing and the services sector. American Express has a deep network through their services, through the global merchant services in India's small and medium business community. So welcome to the show, Anurag. And as I said, we are glad to have you here. First of all, how would you describe the level of disruptions among the merchant community during the pandemic? How has the merchant base responded during this pandemic?
First of all, thank you and good morning to you, Gaurav. I'm happy to be here today. We are both in our respective homes, so it's of course a very different feeling for me as well. But from an economy standpoint, from a payment standpoint, this has been completely unprecedented. No one could ever think of this, and that is true. That holds true for our merchant partners as well. I don't think any of them would have ever imagined that there would be a pandemic like this. There would be a lockdown, and then there would be a restart, which is going to be slow. I think some of the things that we used to take for granted is now coming out, and it's very difficult. But having said that, our merchant partners, the merchants in the Indian system, are a resilient lot. They are the ones who are the backbone of the economy. They are the backbone of the payments ecosystem. So I'm very happy to tell you that things are opening up. They're coming back to business. Of course, there are lots of challenges. Of course, there are lots of issues. But at the end of the day, we want to have the back of our merchants. We really want to make sure that we are providing all kinds of support to them. And I'm going to talk to you a little later about it probably. But the fact is, the markets are opening up. The merchants are slowly coming back to business. And we are seeing payments happening now again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, interesting to note that payments are coming back again because the edifice of the India growth story is the consumption story. And if people are spending and merchant services are actually using your services, that's a good sign. I mean, it might be too early to call it as green shoots or a decidedly V-shaped recovery, but these are signs that are really encouraging. I would like to now go back a little bit and ask you about the kind of expansion that has taken place in your merchant services. And during the last 12 months, and particularly during the pandemic and when the entire country went into a lockdown, and we are still in the middle of semi-lockdowns in various parts of the country, has there been any expansion, and how and to what extent, and who are these people?
Sure. So, Gaurav, I'm going to break this question into two parts, pre-pandemic and after that. So, pre-pandemic, to be honest, we have been on an expansion journey for the last 4 or 5 years. We invested a lot in partnerships through our bank alliances, especially on the offline side. On the online, we were always very strong, and we have partnerships with majority of our aggregators and direct merchants. But on the offline side, in the last 5 years, we have had phenomenal expansion. We have grown about 10x, 10 times in the last 5 years. We have added about 1 million odd merchants now in our fold. So the growth rate that we have had has been in excess of about 50%. The market was growing at about 30-35%, but we have been growing typically above 50% for the last few years, and that's something that explains the growth. When the growth momentum actually continued for us in 2020 as well, but of course in the last couple of months it slowed down. But I'm happy to tell you that our growth story continues. We've been able to add quite a few merchants in the last 2-3 months itself. Of course, the sales force, the servicing teams are not as many as we would want them to be, but and of course we want to make sure that our employees are safe. It's the most important parameter for us. But at the end of the day, we have seen growth. We have seen growth coming in the last 3 months as well. In the last 2 years, if I have to just tell you, we have added more than 500,000 odd merchants. So that shows the kind of expansion that we have had in the market.
And what has been the focus of expansion? Which sectors have expanded the most?
The fundamental thing for American Express, Gaurav, is we want to go where our card members want to spend. So I
Yeah.
spoke about online, that we are very strong in online because that's been something which has been on for our card members. We want to make sure that we have covered off all the utilities, insurance, and we have seen growth in the last few months on that parameter as well. But more
Mm.
importantly, everyday essentials, everyday services, everyday spend category is what we've been focusing on. We've been looking at fuel, we've been looking at education, we've been looking at health and wellness. So these are typically the categories where our card members want to spend money, and we've been expanding in these. Of course, retail continues to be a big focus area for us.
That's right.
And interestingly, another point, Gaurav, is we were in the tier one cities, but in the last couple of years, we've been expanding our focus in tier two and tier three cities as well. So now we have a lot of our merchant partners based out of these cities as well.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so that's an interesting point. That's an interesting point you make, and that is why I would like to rather ask you. One perception about American Express has been that it's a kind of a premium service, and acceptance has been lower. And it's often said that American Express's acceptance has been lower due to higher margins that Amex asks for. How are you addressing this issue, especially when fintech solutions are further bringing down margins?
So, well, to be honest, it's directly commensurate with the value that we bring to the merchant. So, first of all, it's a perception. So, our margins are not much more than what the competition has or the others have in the market.
Yeah.
We are very close to them. But the value that we bring to the table, Gaurav, is phenomenal. Whether it is the high spending card members that we have our card members who spend almost, and this is proven by data, almost 3 times more than other card members, right? The second is the business insights that we provide to our merchant partners because of the fact
Yeah.
that we are a closed loop. We are an issuing arm, we are an acquiring arm, and we have the
Yes.
network as well. So therefore, we
Yes.
have
Yes.
the entire data that we can provide to our merchant partner. Then, of
That is.
course, with our world-class risk management techniques, our customer service. So if you add all of this, the value that we bring back to the merchant, I'll give you an example. In today's time also, we have started Shop Local and Stand for Local campaigns. This is our support to the local small merchant community, saying that, you know what,
Yes.
you're opening up, we are there with you, we will give you the benefit. There are so many places which we have got sanitized for our merchants, their establishments. Then we are giving them recovery kits. They're small recovery kits. It's a small gesture from us, which has
Yeah.
the sanitizer and the social distancing mats and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, if you put a value to all of this, but the most important thing is we have premium card members who want to spend more at these merchants. Then, frankly speaking, I think the little premium that we have is definitely justified, and the merchants understand it. Merchants
That's
definitely
right.
understand it.
I'm glad to know that, because if there's a market that is willing to pay a premium for value-added services, that means we are actually going up the value chain in so far as the Indian economy is concerned. That's a good sign to have. But coming to more specific issues during the pandemic, and also because of the perception that American Express is a kind of a premium service, have you noticed, or has there been any shift of existing Amex clients or merchant services to different platforms, alternative platforms? And if so, what would the reasons you attribute this to?
Sure. Frankly speaking, no. The answer to that is no. We have not seen any shift of merchants from American Express. On the contrary, as I said earlier, at the end of the day, the merchants realize the value that we bring to the table. We have a lot of our issuance has really gone up in the last few years. So we have a lot of card members, and these are premium card members who spend more. What we have seen, though, Gaurav, is a change from uh, contact cards to contactless transactions. So that's one
That's right.
fundamental shift. What used to be like a low single-digit number in terms of transactions for contactless, with a transaction value of only about, let's say, about 300 rupees, we have seen in the last couple of months, that has gone up many-fold. A quarter of our transactions now are happening on contactless, which I think has been a phenomenal journey. It's not only for American Express, but it's also there elsewhere in the market. But this is a fundamental shift that I can talk to you about for American Express, and we are focusing on it. The transaction value, as I said, has gone up by about 5 times. So what used to be like a 300 rupee transaction has now gone up to about 1700 rupees. So we are seeing that shift from a classification of a transaction perspective, but no fundamental move of a merchant from American Express to elsewhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you take to make contactless transactions, and also the value going up from about 300 to 1500. Given the fact that the cap is about 2000 rupees.
Yeah.
or contactless transactions. But the average value of transactions overall, contact and contactless combined, to what extent did it come down during the lockdown period? And what are the signs of recovery now, so far as transaction value is concerned?
Look, honestly, the transaction value has come down because at the end of the day, the spend on travel has gone down. The
Yeah.
travel and
Yeah.
entertainment piece, which is like a high value transaction category, that has gone
Yeah.
down quite a bit. So, of course, when you look at it for the last couple of months, the value has gone down. But in terms of the number of transactions, I think that's coming back to normalcy on account of the fact that people are transacting online. So what used to be like transactions from a value perspective, yes, there's a fall on the segment of travel entertainment, but correspondingly, the number of transactions in value have gone up on the utility side, on the insurance side,
That's
on the
right.
essential side.
Yes.
So it kind of balances off. And these are more transactions, but at a lower value. So at the end of the day, from an absolute number perspective, it's almost the same. But from a per transaction standpoint, yes, it has had an impact.
That's right. And if suppose I'm a small and medium business, what is it for me if I align with American Express?
Well, the fundamental point is the fact that we will give you value. We will ensure that our card members know about you. We would expect you to, of course, put our sticker out there so that the card members definitely take out their card and spend at your location. We would provide you a lot of support around campaigns, which I said, like shop small, shop local. We have offers going on. We have special value injection programs that we have given to our card members, encouraging them to go and spend. And this value injection can be in different forms and shapes. So we are doing a lot on that side as well. So if you look at it, the both sides of the equation we are trying to influence, whether to the merchant supporting him in having best in class service, better risk management opportunities, and on the card member side, giving out value to card members for them to go and spend at these locations. So
That is right.
I would say that both sides we are taking care of,
That's
and that's
right.
what the merchant realizes as well.
Yeah. So, and also, the fact that there's a lot of focus from the government on small and medium businesses. MSME is almost like a buzzword for the government's revival strategy for the economy. What has there been any change in American Express strategy, given that there's a distinctly more focus of the government on the small and medium businesses? And is this something that you would like to elaborate upon?
To be honest, we have always been very focused on this segment. And not only in India, but globally as American Express, a lot of markets have these shop small campaigns. And that's something that has been like a regular feature for us. In this time, what we have done, Gaurav, is we've gone that extra length. We have tried to kind of help out our merchant partners by giving them a lot of support. And I'll give you a couple of examples. One is these partners need now newer computers or printers. So we are trying to tie up with our other merchant partners to see if we can get some discounts for our merchants. So that's like a B2B kind of a transaction that we are doing. Then we are also creating these platforms for spend. Now, if some of the offline merchants today want to go online, then we are providing them support, because then that expands their market as well. So as I said, both from a merchant standpoint or from a card member standpoint, we are doing whatever it takes to get more and more card members to spend at these merchant locations. And then, of course, making sure that these merchants are comfortable, because we really want, and to be honest, we have put our strategy in 3 buckets. We said, okay, the first part was crisis management, where it was support in terms of saying that, okay, you know what, you have more time to submit your documents. We will support you in this manner. There were a few options that we gave to the partners. Then came the recovery phase, wherein it was sanitization or given recovery kits. And now the growth phase, at some time when it starts back, we will have offers, we will have campaigns, making sure that our merchants start getting the billings back that they were getting earlier. That's our strategy to handle and support them.
Lastly, this is the point that I was eventually planning to ask you. You talked about the growth phase that will come in. When do you see that coming?
I wish I had that crystal ball in which I could look at and tell you the definitive time, but I really hope and pray that the time comes soon. We are seeing recovery in the market. The government is doing its efforts. There are a lot of ways by which we can prevent this. So I just hope that everyone follows that, and hopefully in the very near future we will get rid of this problem and we'll be back to normal lives.
But what was you were getting from SMB merchant?
Look, the business is coming back. The volume is coming back. So therefore, while it's not the level it was earlier, but the signs are very positive. The signs are positive. There is optimism. So till there is optimism in the market. There is this feeling that things will be fine. I think, and everyone is practicing the rules and regulations. And I can see that when I go to the market, I can see all the merchants are being very careful, not only for their safety but also for their customers' safety. So I think if all of us follow that, then things will be much, recovery will be much faster. So I can see the signs. I can see the positivity.
That's yeah. Well, these are very encouraging words actually to see that there is some kind of revival, some kind of green shoot, some kind of revival sprung anew, that the Indian economy is going to revive soon. We just, all of us just hope that it becomes a very strong rebound rather than a very slow climb back. On that note, Anurag, thank you so much for this insight and perspective. It gives us a lot of idea what's happening on the retail side, what's happening on the small and medium business side, and what's happening on the retail individual spending side. Thank you so much, Anurag, for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. Take care and stay safe.